Edging up to 1:45, let's round up the business news, and Adam is back for us. Hello.
Hello, Matthew. Hi, Fiona. Good afternoon, good morning indeed to all of you at home. Activity in the housing market edged up in March. Some buyers trying to beat the end of that stamp duty holiday. Others probably lured out by the warm weather. It is the start of what they call the buying season. Well, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors said that compared with the previous month, there had been a 9% increase in inquiries from potential buyers. So that's the highest level in almost 2 years. But all that interest failing to lift prices, which continue to stumble in all regions except London. So what's going on? Joining us now is the housing expert, Henry Pryor. Henry, good morning to you. Well, let's ask you that question. What is going on? People are talking to surveyors more, but prices are actually going down. What's happening?
Well, it is always difficult, and we have a blizzard of surveys that come out every month. This one, I have to say, is perhaps rather more of a Pippa Middleton type survey, hoping to raise our spirits and get us all excited and in the mood. But actually, it's talking about sentiment rather than actually an average of house prices or asking prices, which are perhaps a little more useful for those who are going to go out and start the process of buying or selling a property. The housing market is still in somewhat of a perilous state. We can see that outside of London and the southeast, prices are trending in some parts down considerably over the last 12 months. And still the problem is the pressure on potential buyers trying to get together the necessary deposit they need in order to be able to fund these purchases, which is proving still to be the big break on the housing market.
The difference we're talking about here, in fact, of surveyors being spoken to, but prices going down, reminds me of this idea that asking prices go up, but selling prices go down. Are we still seeing that? We are.
We still have this credibility gap, if you will, between the average asking price, what people's aspirations are, and it's a number that's often used by potential sellers when they see their next-door neighbours asking X pounds for their property. What people need to fixate on and to focus rather more clearly on are the prices that people are actually selling for, and that gap between the average asking price and the average sale price across the country now is roughly £62,000, which is a huge amount when you consider the average selling price, according to the Land Registry in the Halifax, is only about £160,000 in the first place.
Except in central London, where prices continue to rocket, don't they?
Well, London is a very special and very different case, of course. It's, the market here is underpinned in central London, in prime central London in particular, by overseas investors who are looking for a safe haven for their money. They're looking at bricks and mortar as an alternative to stocks and shares, or to fine art or wine, for example. So they're perhaps looking at and judging the property market in a slightly different fashion. What we're seeing in the rest of the market is that rents are creeping up because we've still got this phenomenal pressure on the housing sector as a whole, which is why politicians are paying such attention to it. And we've seen with recent announcements from communities and local government just last week, this new right to build legislation, which was enacted on Friday and came into force. That's going to allow communities to be able to give effectively planning permission for schemes in their own locality, where if they've got the next generation who are unable to buy in their village or town, they're going to be able to bypass the planning system and be able to give consent for housing to fill this void that we've got at the moment.
Indeed. Henry Pryor, thank you very much indeed for coming to us this morning.